はい、どうも。
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
続いてのタイトルは、ドラゴンボール Z、ザでいいか。ザ・レガシー・オブ・悟空
Say hi to everyone.
となっております。解説の方の応募をお待ちしております。まあ、といっても、25分だから、今から応募してもらって、マイクチェックして準備してとなると、なかなか時間もないかも。
It's kind of janky. It's going to require most of my focus, so I'm going to have Glitch do kind of the heavy lifting on commentary. You're going to see a lot of
い
glitches
や、い
today.
つも通り、皆さんのチャットでのいろいろなコメントに助けられていきたいと思います。今回のドラゴンボール Z ザレガシオブ悟空は、ドラゴンボール Z アニメだね。を題材に海外で発売されたゲームボーイアドバンス用のソフトとなっております。ドラクです。サイヤ人編、ナメック星編と呼ばれるあたりの話をなさっているみたいですね。
It's not the greatest, but honestly, the speedrun is pretty sick for this game. And there's a lot of cool tech and stuff that we do to skip bosses or, you know, sequence break, things like that. So it's actually kind of cool. So the first thing that we're going to do a sequence break here is instead of running all the way around the village of Goku's neighborhood, we're just going to fly straight over the entirety of that. And that honestly skips most of the village segment. The game has a mechanic called flight where when you press R1, you enter flight, but you only have a specific amount of flight points. So flight point management is like a big thing in this run. Right here, we wanted to make sure that we saved one point of flight so that we could make it over that gap. Otherwise, we would have had to find some more flight like this. Those little orbs that have wings in them kind of...
つい先ほどやってたタイトルがピッコロ大魔王編まででしたから、ちょうどまあまあその続きとして見ることができるのかね、ストーリー的にも。
If anyone played this game as a kid, they remember those wolves destroying you every time you get here, and they still destroy you in the run quite a bit. It's a pretty common reset point, but he did a good job making it past there. But now we're in another part of the village. This part basically just has a bunch of little side quests that you do before you actually unlock the Raditz fight. So one of those is to collect flowers. Another one is to save this little girl who was stuck up there next to the wolves. And that was the first like major difficult sequence break, I would say. You can fly down from the mountains on a very specific pixel and land. And it skips you having to run all the way down and around to get down here where all the houses are and things. So pretty good. This is another crazy tech in this game, flight mashing. So when you move in flight, it's actually faster than moving just on the ground. And since we do need to manage our flight points and keep them, it's actually better to mash flight points off. It gives you a tiny boost in movement every single time you do it. But it is difficult. You have to do a very precise timing to keep it up without actually losing any points of flight. But right now, all we're doing is turning in all of these quests. Each time we turn in a quest, we get experience, and we need a decent amount of experience to take on Raditz and just be able to get through the rest of the game. Thankfully, that dog behaved. It's another reset point, kind of. That dog can sometimes just iframe through your attacks and actually destroy you. So, did pretty good at avoiding all of these terrible things that can end the run in this early part here. But now we are at the Raditz fight, so it kind of goes fast in the beginning. We'll get over, or we'll start to discuss like the finer mechanics a little bit more the deeper we get in, more time we have, but we unlocked an ability from talking to that older fella there. It's Solar Flare. It's going to be an ability we use to set up boss fights. And boss fights are mostly done in this game using this glitch that you're seeing right now. This is the flight glitch. So what happens here is if you get hit by a key blast in flight, it grounds your character and puts them back on the ground and makes you actionable again. When you're in flight, normally you can't attack or do anything. All you can do is fly. But if you get hit by that key blast, it puts you on the ground and once you're on the ground, you can attack, but the enemy still believes that you're flying. So they're just gonna stand there and do nothing because they're waiting for you to land. But that was actually a crazy fight. There's another mechanic in this game here where attacks only register like every other second. It's hard to describe, but it's like you can sit there and mash punch, and you might punch 4 times, but only one of those punches will actually have dealt damage. So Infamous actually opted to time the punches rather than to just mash them out, which in theory is faster if you can execute it, and it actually ended up pretty fast there, so well done. But now we're on the Snake Way segment here. It's a lot of just kind of using your flight wisely to skip gaps on Snake Way rather than having to run around the entire thing as it's designed. And we wanted to save a point of flight there to fly up to this little ledge so that we can collect the souls. That's the next little quest. Most of this game is kind of designed like you get a hub world area for the next location that you end up in. There's a bunch of quests in it. You do them for experience, and then you get onto a boss. So we're in Hiffle now, or Hell, you know, whichever dub you're watching. And this part here, we just have to collect 3 souls and turn them into one of King Yima's assistants down here. So pretty big map, but each of the souls are spread out in different locations across the map. But there's some pretty good movement tech to get through it pretty decently. So we turned in the first one, and we're gonna move up here. And this area, I'm not sure if this is a glitch or not, but you can just like walk down this giant mountain area just through this tiny space. It seems like it's unintentional. We don't really know, but I'm gonna say it isn't intentional. But yeah, we go ahead and grab the second soul up here. And then this third is going to be on the bottom of the map, but we got some Flight Mash gaming going on. Bro's going kind of fast here.
I warmed it up for like an hour.
Yeah, you gotta have to, man. Like, the Flight Mash in this game is very difficult. The optimal thing to do in a run is to Flight Mash everywhere all the time, but the input for Flight Mashing is double tapping R. You have to tap R once to go into flight and R again to land. So that's what it looks like whenever you're doing it properly. So imagine doing that throughout the entire run, non-stop. It's a very difficult input to maintain without your hands exploding. But it's honestly pretty cool when it actually works out. We're picking up the last soul here. There's also other souls that are not NPCs, I suppose. They're like enemies. That's why he just kind of hit one with a key blast. So you have to know the exact soul that you're going for.
All right, no soft lock.
We did not get soft locked poggers.
Yeah.
If you turn in the souls in a very weird way, you can pretty much soft lock the game. It's kind of cursed, but the souls will freeze in place and obtain collision after you turn them in. So there's a weird way that you can turn them in that like locks you down where you can't escape next to Yima's assistant. It's really bad. But there's a way to turn them in to avoid that. So it turned out to be pretty good here. And that is pretty much all of the side quests in Hell. No problem. Dunzo. So now we're going to be going to King Kai's planet. This is where another pretty tough part of the run is, another reset point, but it'll be fine. There's some pretty consistent ways to get it done. These red flight balls here, they fully regenerate your flight, so we're just going to kind of use flight as much as we can to get faster movement over a longer distance. Normally we have to kind of be conservative with the flight, but there's so many scattered around here that we can just kind of pick them up and fly around. So this is Bubbles and Gregory. So we're on King Kai's planet. We have to catch Bubbles and Gregory, just like in the anime. But they have very sus movement paths. So we're going to be trying to manipulate
普通に歩いてる時とこう横になってる時がありますけど、冬か横になると方が早いけど、横になると冬専用のゲージを使ってしまうから、羽を使ってしまうから、一瞬なら羽を使わないからなのか。一瞬なら使わなくてもよくわかんないっすよ。難しいな。
But we're going back down to Earth so that we can fight the Saiyans. So now we're heading to Nappa and Vegeta. So there's this little
ね、ナペッ
I
ク
guess
星編なる
hallway
もの
area
が
in between. I'm not really
イ
sure
コー
what
ル
it's
フリーザ
supposed to be
編
in
ですけれ
lore,
ども、
but now we're in
今
like a
どこを
city
やっ
type of
ているか
area
私には
here.
皆目見当もつきませんが、
And there's another skip that we do very shortly where there's this like
果
military
たして
area. If you save one flight
どう
point,
な
you
る
can
の
just
か。
fly straight over that fence, which is normally gate kept by a bunch of different quests that you have to complete like you did in the previous areas. But there's one little space where you can fly straight over it and skip that verification, so you don't have to do any of the quests in that area at all. But we're going to use Solar Flare before the fight, because even though the enemies are in an NPC state before we start the fight, if you use Solar Flare before the fight actually begins, it still has effect as if they were an enemy, which is pretty funny. So we use that to set up the fight so we can get some distance between us and Nappa. And once we have that distance, we get the flight glitch and we just start whacking. So we want to move up next to Vegeta, because as soon as Nappa dies, Vegeta's going to come down and be the next attacker. But since we're already in flight glitch, we don't have to get it again, and we're just pretty much invincible once we get this glitch. And once Nappa falls, Vegeta's just going to come straight to start attacking us here. And we just keep whacking again. But we're going to move into another specific spot, because after this cutscene, or after this fight ends, a cutscene begins where Kid Gohan turns into the Ozaru, he smashes Vegeta, and the positioning that we're in now is kind of the optimal place to stand, because the cutscene will cause the NPCs at the bottom, Kid Gohan and Krillin, to
いやー、すごいな。
standing here just kind of saves the time on their movement.
いやー、ピチピチというのが強いですね。
We also have Kamehameha and other special attacks like Ki Blast and whatnot. When you're in flight glitch, your Ki does not recharge. Normally the way Ki works in this game is it just recharges over time, but Flight Mash kind of like freezes time in a way with your Ki regeneration. So you only get one nice Kamehameha before you have to go back to punching, but it does do a lot of damage, so we wait for the second part of Vegeta, because there's two different phases of the fight to rip it. But now it's just punching until he's done, so that's pretty good. So, yeah, Vegeta will get teleported to like the left side of the screen here, and that spot that we were fighting him in just makes him have to run left during this little scene. Yeah, Goku's death sound is like super funny in this game. All right, nice. We didn't wait. Oh, wait.
Where are you going? That's not bad.
Okay, not that bad yet. For some reason, these NPCs can take really weird paths to get up there to finish this area, like to just whack Vegeta and end the scene. But they took an okay line here. You can lose time to them just running in a circle before they get up there for no reason. But yeah, now we're on Namek. We're close to the end of the game already. We want to take Flight Glitch early here, because we're going to have to grind levels. So that was really good. These Frieza soldiers control when it comes to getting Flight Glitch pretty badly, but they give it
サイヤ人編が終わったらしいです。
But we want to get into Flight Glitch and kind of attack these guys as we're on our way to the next
悟空の
destination.
視点で話が進む
So
ゲーム
every
ら
time
し
you hear
く、
this crash sound effect, it's like
悟空さんが寝てるったりすると、その辺の話は全部飛ぶみたいです。
weak thump sound. That means that the enemy technically blocked the attack and you didn't deal damage at all. So you have to time your attacks as you're moving pretty perfectly to make sure you're actually hitting your damage and not wasting it. But that was very well done. Did a good job getting them taken out without having to stick around too long. But another instance of getting Flight Glitch here. This one's a little bit more annoying, but it turned out very well. There's just a lot of like little crystals and things around the map. Yeah, these guys have stupid movements sometimes. They'll just like run away from you even though they're supposed to be designed to path right towards you. But yeah, you can stack up enemies in Flight Glitch because again, they all think you're still flying, so they're just trying to follow you. So we're gonna get a big stack of enemies here, and these enemies will get us to, I think, level 13. I think we want to be at level 15 or 14 by the end of the run. I don't quite remember which one we get to, but Kamehameha will deal damage to everyone, and then we kind of just move up and down to make sure we attack different guys once another enemy gets an iframe. Because after they get hit, they get like a period of iframes kind of where they can't take damage for like about a second or so. So moving up and down in that way kind of makes it to where we're hitting different targets and dealing damage to everyone all the time. But this is a death abuse that we do. So we fly up to the top right to collect this gem for the quests that we're about to do. And then once we collect the gem, we save the game and then die. So once we reload right in front of this temple that we just entered, instead of having to fly all the way down, walk all the way around, you know, it just kind of skips that whole section and lets us get there right away. So this is like the Namek temple here. There's just some more.
やばいな。ちょっと目を離したら死んでたら。
We placed them in this altar.
早すぎる
And then
展開が。
we have access to the Ginyu Force and the Frieza fights. So this area is pretty chill. Not a whole lot going on. Not a bunch of enemies threatening your life. Just a lot of flying around to the right areas. The way this place is like designed is that there's a bunch of different colored switches on the ground, and they teleport you to different parts of the temple. So you have to know exactly which ones you're going to. But of course, in the speedrun route, we know this pretty well. So we're just chilling, picking up flight when we can to get some time save on our movement. And we're gonna fly past this guy because he kind of gets in the way, but we're already at the end of the temple here. We're gonna put these gems into the ground, and once we do this, we get a bunch of experience and we get a speed boost as well. So our movement speed is actually increased very slightly. So unfortunately, it's so late in the run that we don't get a huge benefit from it, but it is still nice. And yeah, so this is the Ginyu Force area, but rather than fighting the Ginyu Force, there's a very funny glitch in this area where the loading zone for the next area is loaded in at the top left of the map, and we can just fly into it and skip this entire area. So normally you'd have to take out the entire Ginyu Force, but we just fly right there. We just completely bypass all of them. So this is the last grind split here. We just have to fly across these little platforms.
ああ、そうか、めちゃくちゃ今更ですけど。 浮遊してると飛んでる派手だから、低い段差とかは超えられるのかな。
And we want to grind, I think, 4 different guys here, so we're going to pick up 4 guys. And once we have them, we're just going to do the same grind that we did earlier on Namek. We stack them up, get him with a Kamehameha. So yeah, we get level 15, I believe. So we're just going to be moving up and down, timing our attacks very specifically so that we're hitting different guys with each punch, just to avoid the iframes. You might hear some weak thumps here if we mistime it, but we're doing pretty good so far. We're in
やばいね、このゲーム難しい。急に戦い出すから。
Doing this optimally saves a ton of time, but it is quite difficult because, as you can see, the enemies will kind of like misalign and get out of place. But yeah, once we have one left, we can kind of just mash them out because the punches on a rhythm will still deal damage kind of optimally. It won't be quite as optimal as properly timing the punches, but if you're mashing, you can kind of get in a rhythm where you're dealing the damage with your punches on the right timer, if that makes sense. But now we're on the final fights here. This part is pretty funny. This is a Frieza fight. He goes through every single one of his forms, and we are going to be in flight glitch for this as well. We pretty much flight glitch for every boss in the game. So Frieza's going to go through every single one of his forms while we just stand still and punch him in the face for about 5 minutes. So
yep, the 5-minute meme is real here.
Yeah, exactly. The planet will explode in 5 minutes. Well, you know, we're going to punch him for that many minutes straight, and that won't happen, so we're chilling. But he goes through every single one of his forms. Each time he goes through a new form, he gets way more HP. So that's why this section takes so long of just standing still and punching. Because every time he transforms, he gets like hundreds of thousands more HP. And the way damage is dealt in this game is also RNG. I didn't really get to explain this earlier, but your damage kind of rolls between like a set of numbers. It's like, okay, one punch might do 1,000 damage, one punch might do 1,500. So whether or not you get a fast fight here and anywhere, any of the bosses is slightly RNG based on top of, you know, your punches not dealing damage every time you actually hit. This game just has very cursed damage formulas and, you know, applications. I'm not really sure why they did that design-wise, but...
やばいな、HP ゲージとかもないので、いつまでこのペチペチが続くかよくわからない。
Yeah, we use it in the first phase, I guess, because Frieza has the least health here. It kind of does the most. We do get levels up as we defeat his different forms, and we get a little bit more powerful with all of that stuff, our key attacks and our punches. But still, we just be whacking away here. It's pretty much like this for the rest of the run until we get through the third form and we get into final form Frieza. But yeah, well done, man. This is a pretty good run, to be honest. You didn't get trolled.
It was honestly pretty painless. Like,
yeah,
I was expecting at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very easy for runs to go bad in this game from some splits.
あ、変身した。さすがに私もフリーザさんになんか携帯変化があるのは知ってます。ブレイカーズで見ました。だけど、携帯が変化してもやることは変わんないんですね。ペチペチしてますね。これずっとこんな感じかな。
Punching away. He's not going to be able to do anything to us. He thinks we are still flying in the air, so he's just waiting for us to land, but we're actually destroying him this entire time. Once we get past second form, it starts to speed up a little bit, because even though Frieza third form has a ton of health, we have a lot more attack. Like, our stats are increased from our level ups. So I think second form is the one that takes the longest usually. Oh, we're speeding it up. Now we're slowing it down.
Yeah, against Frieza's not the same as the other bosses. Like, timing the punches on this one is way harder. I even would wait 10 seconds and punch him, and it still wouldn't register as a hit. Even I don't even know how this works sometimes. Like, it's just, it feels very random.
Yeah, I think what we figured out was that there's some kind of timer that runs in the background. And once it hits 0, basically, it lets you punch and deal damage, but then it resets right away after a short period of time and counts down again. Something like that, you can think of it that way. So,
変わったんだな。変わったんだな。ちょっとドット変わりましたもんね。変わったらしい。
So it's all about finding the rhythm at the start and then timing it after that, or just mashing your way through on a good rhythm. Because you're going to be hitting your punches at the same time every time if you're mashing. You just have to make sure you dealt damage on your first punch to get in a good rhythm. But yeah, see, third form was really quick. Not a problem at all. So now we're going to get to use Super Saiyan for the only time in the run. And it's literally just for this
何かが起きたが、なんか、スーパーサイヤ人になった。
And your speed is insane. But again, we're flight glitching. So we got it, and now we're just gonna finish off Final Form Frieza with the same old punches here.
お、捕まえましたね。じゃあ、こんな感じですね。
A lot of people talk yap about it. They don't really like it that much because of how janky it is, as you've seen throughout this run with all the invincibility and the silly enemy movements and things like that. But as a speedrun, it is honestly pretty cool, especially the movements and things like that. So
yeah, time's coming up very soon, by the way, when Frieza dies.
Yep.
Time.
GG's.
GG.
Beaten by a monkey. How?
はいはい、GG とのことであります。
Yeah, yeah. The cutscenes on this version, or of this game, are just like a very compressed, direct anime rip. So it's pretty funny. You see Goku explode in like 144p.
アニメを見せていただいているようですね。
Also, with the way this end cutscene looks, it looks
これは
like
海外のソフトなので、なかなか日本で遊ぶのは大変かもですけれど、何か縁があったら気になる人は遊んでみてください。ペチペチ。
The whole series kind of takes each arc or each major saga one by one. So this game was all about, the Saiyans and the Namek saga, and then right after this log 2 is strictly the Cell and Android saga. But yeah, GG's, man. Well done.
GG's, thank you. Thank you for your great commentary. So that was a fun run. We got a lot of good RNG. Went pretty painless. So what else is there to say? I guess that was Legacy of Goku 1. follow me, Infamous. Join the speedrunning Discord. Join Anime Speedruns, man. Like, come on. Why are you guys not in the Discord yet? Come on.
Yeah,
Join.
dude.
That's where you can find me. That's where you can find my brother Glitched. Glitch, you have anything you want to add?
Not much, man. Just that Dragon Ball Gaming is always classic, and like you said, the Discord here for Anime Speedruns, discord.gg/anime speedruns, and it's also listed on the leaderboards for this game, are a great place to go to find information about speedruns like this and other Dragon Ball games, and just all the anime that we featured here pretty much in the server. So if you want to spectate, see what these runs are about, or if you want to learn any of them, there's tons of people here that can help, so definitely join us up in here. And yeah, I've been Glitched. I'm just another runner of this game, other Dragon Ball games and things like that. You can find me on twitch.tv/glitched with 2 Ds. And yeah, that's about it, man. GG's.
Yep. And looks like we got some Black Clover coming up, so be sure to stick around for that. And thank you for watching. See y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you.
はい、そういうわけで、ドラゴンボール Z ゼラガシオ悟空でありました。はい、では、次のタイトルの準備に移ってまいりますので、しばらくお待ちください。
プレイステーションポータブル。今度のパズルはとにかくかわいい。ブロックもアイテムも必殺技も超かわいい。ハートブロックをどんどん消して3つのタリスマンを早く集めてね。あらあら、エラムスーパーくるっくり。
Rated T for Teen.
Ready to get schooled? Enroll at Ninja Academy and become elusive, lightning fast, and deadly accurate in Naruto Clash of Ninja. Only on Nintendo GameCube.
わーい、セーラームーンのスーパーファミコンだよ。セーラー天使が必殺技で大暴れ。ウサギも頑張る。美少女戦士セーラームーン、やらなきゃお仕置きよ。
友とライバルと、そして自分に決着をつける。さらに進化したビジュアルバトル、なんとスーパーファミコン悠々白書特別編登場。
Game Boy Advance.
カメハメハアメリカから来ました。 Dragon Ball Z The Legacy of Goku 2。
Good guys, bad guys, and absolutely no diplomatic solution. Dragon Ball Z Budokai, 23 characters, 5 fighting modes. Fight on. Available on PlayStation 2, rated T for Teen.
俺たちの旅の行方を今その手に。
待望の RPG ついに登場。鋼の錬金術師フルメタルアルケミスト約束の日へ。予約を急げ。
始めようぜ、アイゼン。行くぜ。これが真の力
はい。